All right, good evening, everybody. I call to order the meeting of the World Campus Student Government Association on Tuesday, the 23rd of June, 2020 at 8:01 p.m. Eastern. The chair recognizes Madam Secretary, who will now proceed with roll call of the assembly.
Hi, everybody. I went through who's here, so I'm just going to list off who I don't have. Andrew Herr, Kyle Harmon, Jessica Long, Carmina Perez, Matt Hansen, Brendan Berthold, Stephen Holsizer, Paul Rossi, and Nicole Schumann. I'll put a note in the chat, but if anybody arrives later on, I'll put a note in the chat to let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I move to call for adoption of the agenda for any last-minute agenda items. Are there any additional agenda items at this time? All right, no additional agenda items. I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting as was electronically distributed. All in favor say aye. All not in favor say nay.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right. Thank you. The ayes have it. The minutes have been approved as electronically distributed. I move that we proceed to an open forum. Is there anything that anyone would like to discuss at this time? Nope.
Well, I
right.
am doing that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing that, what is it, a seminar meeting thing coming up? We don't meet before then, right? Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, I can actually submit them on the email and get answers for you if anyone wants me to.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Are there any additional items that anybody would like to bring up during this moment? No? Okay. I move that we proceed to the executive board reports. The chair recognizes Mr. President.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. So I'll try to be brief, but I do have quite a bit of things to cover. First item is the Student Leadership Conference. If you haven't signed up already, please sign up by June 30th. It's going to be held virtually from August 3rd to August 5th. I can share the link with you then. It's a great opportunity to learn some leadership skills and mix and mingle with other student leaders throughout Penn State. Second item I have here is as Scott mentioned, the American Student Government Association is holding a webinar on long distance leadership. It's in response to COVID-19 and how it generally affects in-residence student governments, but I think it could be a great benefit to us because we're always long distance from each other. So I've sent that to the committee chairs and the executive board. If anybody else is interested, I'll share that link as well. It's a Zoom meeting. One thing that we did the end of May was the statement from Penn State University's student government leadership regarding recently racially motivated murders throughout the United States. We wrote this as a joint statement just from the presidents and vice presidents due to the timing of the unfortunate events, and we didn't have the opportunity to submit these to our assemblies for approval as a legislative statement. So it's written on behalf of the presidents, vice presidents of the World Campus Student Government Association, the University Park Undergraduate Association, CCSG, which is the Council of Commonwealth Student Governments, and the Graduate and Professional Student Association. The document can be found on our Teams group under Assembly Hall Files, but I will read it off to you very briefly. The leaders of student governments at Penn State take a united stance in formally condemning acts of racially motivated mistreatment and violence, most recently the murder of George Floyd, an unarmed Black man in Minneapolis whose life was ended by police. Penn State commits itself to 6 core values: integrity, respect, responsibility, discovery, excellence, and community. The murder of Mr. Floyd is not only unacceptable, but also stands in clear opposition to these values. We are grateful that the officer who knelt on Mr. Floyd's neck was taken into custody today and charged with murder after significant public pressure. However, the general lack of accountability for individuals perpetrating racially motivated heinous acts is unacceptable and must change. If not for social media and public pressure, the murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and many others may have gone ignored, and individuals responsible for these tragedies might have avoided accountability for their actions. These repeated offenses highlight pervasive racial inequities embedded in our society that continue to plague our country. As student leaders, we are entrusted by our constituents to foster safe and welcoming environments on our campus for all students. Our work to better student life includes the promotion of justice and equity, which involves understanding the different needs of Penn State students from diverse backgrounds. We must support all Penn State students, especially our Black communities, during this difficult time. Further, we cannot allow acts of discrimination and prejudice to be normalized. While George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Osagie Osagi, and others are no longer with us, their names cannot and will not be forgotten. Our deepest condolences are with their families, and we desire justice for their tragic deaths. We, as a Penn State community, must stand together in solidarity to prevent acts of discrimination and continue to promote justice and equity for all. That statement's also on our website if you'd like to read that as well. And then the student government leaders signed that. So I just wanted to let you know that that is something that we presented to the public. Let's see. Some meetings coming up that I have. We have the Penn State Student Leaders Roundtable, which is made up of myself, Stacy, and the other presidents, vice presidents, and of major organizations at the university. We continue to meet weekly at this point. Next meeting will be Thursday. The topics we've been discussing lately are around racism and discrimination at the university, review of the student code of conduct, and the return to in-residence instruction plan and how that's going to take place. The Board of Trustees meeting is going to be held virtually. Stacy and I will be attending that from July 16th to the 17th. If any of you have any items that you would like us to advance to the board for their consideration or discussion, please let us know. July 21st, we have a meeting with Dr. Renata Engel. She's the Vice Provost for Online Education. We'll be discussing our goals for the year, receiving feedback on those goals, and continuing our discussion on the World Campus Strategic Plan. Again, if you have anything you'd like for us to discuss with her, please let us know. I'm looking to set up a meeting with Dr. Beth Seymour. She's the chair of the University Faculty Senate. Last year, it was approved that the World Campus Student Government would be granted a voting seat on the Faculty Senate, but we haven't really worked out those details yet because the COVID incident happened and everything got moved to a virtual platform. But right now, she serves on a few campus charge groups or the return to campus charge groups and everything with this COVID-19 changes. So I don't have a timeline on this right now, but as soon as I know, I will let everybody know. And my last item is I'm looking to set up a meeting with Dr. Sarah Eady. She's the Associate Dean of the Graduate School. Dr. Adams was kind enough to virtually introduce me to her. It's my hope that I'll be able to meet with her sooner than later to discuss opportunities for us to represent our graduate students on the Graduate Council. And that is all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'll entertain them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Madam Vice President.
Good evening. In addition to the many wonderful meetings that Sean has mentioned that we have been attending and will be attending, the new student orientation is advancing the photo identification process that we had moved forward last year. We had proposed that last year, and they're supposed to be, oh goodness. They're supposed to be advancing that right now for students, but we had initiated that proposal last year for World Campus students for their needs, such as needing a photo identification for identification when they are doing proctored exams. And there was some other needs proposed as well. We're not sure when they'll be advancing that for World Campus students. And hopefully we'll get some more information about that in the advisor's report, maybe today or sometime in the future, but it is moving along. So hopefully sooner than later. And that's all I had.
Thank you very much. I do not have a report today. The chair recognizes Madam Secretary.
I also don't have anything to report.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Mr. President.
Madam Speaker, do you have anything about the committee membership appointments?
I do not at this time, but I will follow up for our next meeting. The chair recognizes Mr. Treasurer. All right, since he's not present at this time, I move that we proceed to the committee reports. The chair recognizes Madam Academic Affairs Chair.
Thank you. I have no great report at this point. I will next time.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Mr. Governmental Affairs Chair.
I as well have no new reports at this time. However, expect to have an update in our next meeting in regards to updating our code of conduct and the work that we intend to do from standpoint of having someone from the World Campus Student Government to join that committee. But at this time, I have nothing new to report. Hopefully in the next meeting, I will have an update on that.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Marketing Communications Chair.
Hello, everyone. I currently do not have a report for this meeting, but I did receive an email from Sean about a video, and we will discuss probably that in new business about it. That's all for now.
All right, thank you very much. The chair recognizes Mr. Student Affairs Chair.
I had a good talk with Terry Watson, and I look forward to working with him on future stuff. He gave me some good insight just to kind of get me moving in the right direction, and I look forward to that conference to kind of motivate me a little bit more and give me some ideas of where to go. So that's all I got.
Excellent, thank you very much. The chair recognizes Madam Technology Chair. All right, and she's not here at this present moment. I move that we proceed to our advisor's report.
Hi, so I'm Mary. I think, well, you all know who I am. Dr. Adams and she's going to want to have me work on institutionalizing some of the procedures for World Campus Student Affairs. So what I'm going to do is start probably attending meetings just so that I'm a little bit more familiar with the work that you're doing. She did not give me any reports to bring to you all today, but I thought I would at least explain why I'm here. So I will look forward to these meetings.
Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate you being here tonight, and with you all's approval and support, I would like for Mary, who serves as the administrative assistant for me specifically and for the World Campus Student Affairs Office more generally, to accompany me at these meetings. As you all can imagine, my schedule is always jam-packed, and so in the effort that I am running behind like I was this evening, or have to leave early, or so that you all can make sure that you have direct access to me in my office. Mary will provide ongoing support. She is an outstanding professional and will add a lot of value to the organization's administrative sort of consistency as it relates to your engagement with my office. So with your support, I'd really like to have her continue. I will obviously serve as your advisor of record and will be present and engaged in these meetings, but having her additional support will be helpful. So I'm not sure if I can ask someone on the executive committee later in new business to bring, I don't know if a full motion needs to be added to make Mary, allow Mary to have attendance at these meetings ongoing, but she is attending as my guest this evening, and I'd like for her to be able to attend at these meetings monthly ongoing. In addition, I do have a number of advisor related reports that I'd like to share. First, I just like to, I know I've had the opportunity to talk with the president about these issues, but first wanted to just hold space and acknowledge the pain and challenge of the deaths of Black people at the hands of the police, and the racial injustices that have been realized and experienced by so many Black people in particular in this country, and by anyone who is interested in justice. I am so saddened by these events, particularly as a Black person, as a Black woman, and as an educator, and someone who life's work is to educate people away from injustice and inequities. I and my office are, certainly troubled by what so many are experiencing, and in fact, my staff is experiencing themselves, and are working in World Campus Student Affairs to host a series of roundtables and programs around racial injustice, civil discourse, and civic engagement for students to engage in, and those are really designed with students in mind. We are planning one of these such events at the end of July, early August, specifically focused on racial injustice, and we're eager to partner with our student leaders and ask that you all consider partnering with us to help us identify a student leader who may be doing work around racial justice in their own communities, and who might be interested in serving in a roundtable capacity to talk about their work and how they might inspire their peers to do the same. So if you all, particularly the Student Engagement Committee, have peers or know of committee members that are interested in that work, that are doing that work, if you could share their name and maybe email with Mary and I, we'd really like to be able to connect with those students. And of course, as we plan the details of that event, and we anticipate that we'll have that done in early July, we will share that out with you and invite you all to attend. And as I mentioned, we are planning for this event to be a part of a 3-part series, and we'd love to partner with the student government on the fall or spring program, one of which will be focused on civic engagement, and the other which will be focused on civil discourse. And so if you all are interested in that, often student governments do partner with student affairs offices on programs or other student clubs and organizations. And so if you all are interested in that, please do, as an organization, please do contact Mary or I. We would really be interested in partnering with the student government on one of these such programs. Another sort of significant event that's happening in the world around us, of course, is COVID-19. The pandemic does loom on, despite what seems like many states sort of opening up and people moving around. It is still very real, and the university is very much working hard to try to prepare for a fall return. As many of you may have heard, last Monday, President Barron shared that the university would be returning to in-person instruction for resident students in the fall. And just yesterday, yes, today's Tuesday, so just yesterday, he and many other senior leaders had a town hall to discuss those plans for return in more detail. You all, I'm not sure, I'd be interested to know how you all have been thinking about COVID-19 since you're not returning anywhere, but we know that resident instruction does impact you in many different ways. And so once my report concludes, I'd be happy to take questions about that. One of the things that I know you may be worried about or be thinking about is how a return to resident instruction might impact you all as World Campus students. And I'll share that while, you know, the university is planning to return to in-person instruction in fall, many classes still will be remote. And many of our international students, we anticipate about 2/3 of international students will not be able to return to the University Park campus or to many of the other campuses around the Commonwealth. I want to ensure that you know, World Campus is doing what we can to protect the seats and the availability for World Campus students to take World Campus classes, because we recognize that many of you all don't have other options, right? Like there's not like you could just go to another campus to take classes, but we also, of course, are really working hard to make sure that your resident peers, where they are not able to have in-person classes because the class isn't offered, because there isn't a physical space that will allow them to safely social distance, they do have access to online classes. And so we are working to balance that and provide support to your resident peers while trying to ensure that course availability you all have the first priority in. And then finally, on the very positive news, I'm excited to share that you all last year wrote a resolution related to student IDs and the request to have your pictures, the World Campus student pictures on student IDs for World Campus students, which are mailed out to you usually 6 weeks after you start. That proposal and that work was being done by the ID Plus office, but they at the time did not have the technology needed to be able to advance that process. But I've been told that the technology has been secured by the university, and I do anticipate that sometime starting in the fall, World Campus students will be able to upload a picture of themselves to the ID Plus office to have their photo ID on their photo ID, which is, you know, I think a really big deal in the era of really seeing you all as full students and making sure that you have amenities like a student ID with their actual photo on it, similar to your resident peers. So I'm really excited about that, and I am continuing to work hard to make sure that that process is implemented, and I'll certainly be keeping you abreast of that technology procurement and the implementation of the upload process for World Campus students as time goes on. I believe that concludes my report, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Dr. Adams, I actually have a question. So with everything as far as fall and COVID, how does that affect students that will be graduating in the fall?
Sure. So the university, it affects students that are graduating in the fall, or could affect students who are graduating in the fall in many ways. one of the ways that it may impact those students is course availability. So most students have registered for fall classes by now. Registration opened up typically in late February, early March. But we are keeping a close eye on course availability, seat availability, and making sure that students who are expected to graduate in December or even in August, right? So August and December have the courses they need to be able to graduate.
I think we may have lost Dr. Adams.
I do know that sometimes she has trouble with her video, so she might come back on just audio. I don't know if you want to wait or circle back if she pops back in.
We'll give it 1 minute and then we'll circle back. Okay. At this time, I move that we proceed to the liaisons report, and we'll circle back to Dr. Adams if she's able to return. The chair recognizes Mr. President.
Maria, would you like to share a report from the World Campus Student Advisory Board?
Hi, is it I'm not sure if everyone can hear me too. I have a problem with my audio. My name is Maria. I just want to I just don't want to surprise everyone. Mr. President invited me tonight. I'm really honored to be here tonight to join you all. And yes, my name is Maria, and I'm currently I'm a rising junior for World Campus, and currently I work with Sean with the governance. Right now we rename our group as Outreach and Relations, and we are working with partnering with other student organizations where part of our goal is to build relationships with other clubs and organizations in the campus. We try to reach out with all the clubs and make sure that we can exchange resources with them, and as well as trying to build a long relationship that when I enter the World Campus, I always felt frustrated about the whole idea about we are from University Park and you are from World Campus. So we try to make sure that along the way we can break that system and we can just be we are one. So I hope that with every students on the World Campus, the students, they all agree on that agenda, that we can all work and we can at the end of this we can all work as one Penn State. And I'm happy to be here. And also, Sean, if you can send all those upcoming events that you mentioned earlier. I don't know, how do you guys do that when you have events, especially the racial bias, racial injustice event that you'll be having on Thursday? All right, thank you.
Of course, yes.
Thank you very much. I move that we proceed to new business. The chair recognizes Mr. President.
Hi, everybody. So as you may know, the elected marketing and communications chair never assumed her responsibilities. So we're opening up for nominations for anybody who's interested. With that, I nominate Matush Engelbard. He was a committee member last year on marketing communications and has stuck around, and I welcome him to a nomination. Madam Chair.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. So we will go ahead and vote Matus in. The question in motion is for Matus for Marketing and Communications Chair. Please utilize the participation button to raise your hand. All in favor say, or raise your hand aye, and all not in favor do not raise your hand.
I sorry, I don't have a video right now, but yes, I'm raising my hand.
Thank you.
Hello, all. This is Dr. Adams. My internet cut out, so I apologize about that. And I was earlier interrupted. So when it's appropriate, I can finish answering the question I was answering when I cut out. And I apologize for losing the connection.
Absolutely. We will circle back around to Dr. Adams shortly upon completion of our vote. This time looks like the ayes have it. Congratulations.
I'm sorry. I have a question for Dr. Adams.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if Dr. Adams, can you hear me?
Well, let's circle back. We can circle back when we get back to the advisor's report. If you could please hold.
Sure, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, congratulations, Matus. You've been selected for the Marketing and Communications Chair. If you could please raise your right hand, we will go ahead and swear you into office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the responsibilities of the World Campus Student Government Association.
I, Mateusz Engelbart, do solemnly affirm that I will support, obey, and defend my responsibilities on the World Campus Student Government Association.
I acknowledge that I am a representative of the student body population of Penn State's World Campus and will dutifully represent and support undergraduate, graduate, and certificate-seeking students.
I acknowledge that I am a representative of the student body population of the Penn State's World Campus and will dutifully represent and support undergraduate, graduate, and certificate-seeking students.
I will adhere to the guidelines of my position as outlined in the Constitution.
I will adhere to the guidelines of my position as outlined in the Constitution.
And I further affirm that I will faithfully discharge my duties as Marketing and Communications Chair to the best of my ability.
I further affirm that I will faithfully discharge my duties as Marketing and Communications Chair to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Matus, and thank you very much and welcome officially.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, I move that we circle back to our advisor's report. The chair recognizes Dr. Adams.
Thanks so much, Joanna. So I was talking about students graduating in December, and I was talking about registration and course availability. Another way that COVID might impact those students is around commencement. So if they're planning to attend commencement in person, it may look very different in December than it does typically in December. I know that there is a graduation and commencement committee of the President's Charge Task Force, and I am sure that they are planning for what winter commencement might be like. Specifically at the World Campus, our commencement numbers are about the same, and we host 3 graduation celebrations each year. So they, in terms of size, they're about the same. So I'm sure further guidance is coming on that matter. But I don't have any specifics about winter commencement at this time. And there are a number of other ways as it relates to like student engagement and student engagement opportunities that might befall students in the fall. And so if there are more specific questions I can answer related to how some of the changes related to COVID-19 the university is making might affect December graduates, feel free to let me know what those questions are and I can answer those more clearly.
Thank you.
And Maria, you had a question as well.
Yeah, Dr. Adams, I'd like to cycle back to the racial injustice that we are currently facing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, you know, students have elective and selective course. In case we have suggestion, like, you know, I don't know how I'm not sure if this is the right channel anyway, but I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it to you all. That can we have a mandatory course that, you know, relates with civic course, or for example, yeah, racial injustice, anything about equalities, inequalities issues, that we can just go ahead and, you know, for upcoming students, we can go ahead and add this to this course. I do believe that we can all agree that education is really one of the tools that we can fight this injustice.
So so many of your peers have recommended the same, Maria, that the university adopt a anti-racism or bias and discrimination or racial justice course and make it a part of curriculum for undergraduate and graduate students across programs. In some of the early conversations that I participated in, two Black female students who are a part, they're active members in the Paul Robeson Cultural Center and members of Alternative Breaks program at University Park, hosted a talk about some of the racial injustice experiences that have been happening in this country, and talked about what Penn State could do to better address these issues that happen on campus as well. And that was one of the recommendations. And in fact, one of your peers, a graduate student who is a World Campus graduate student, actually brought up the fact that she has taken, and I don't know if any of you have taken the How to Teach Online online course that World Campus offers for graduate students who are considering teaching online. And she talked about how that was a great delivery method, and it was a free course that World Campus offers, and how, you know, something similar should be developed for anti-racism or racial justice. And so that has been recommended. I think that similar course instruction has been recommended before, and I think it did not advance, but I think at this time there's more visibility on this matter, and I believe that it was sent out to students as well. You all might have received an email from President Barron today. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Did anyone receive that? Yes. President Barron sent out a message. Oh, very good. Thank you. President Barron sent out a message. I thought it did go to students as well, around the a task force, a commission, even a special commission that he's charging related to racial equity. And one of the things that I think that will add to your recommendation, Maria, and one of the reasons why I think it hasn't advanced before is because there was no one from Faculty Senate on those types of committees, which has slowed that kind of progress happening in the past. And so I think the suggestion that we have some type of course related specifically to racial justice that be added to all student curriculum is bolstered now that a member of Faculty Senate, who in a large part guides what curriculum looks like, in addition to some other administrative bodies, there's finally someone from Faculty Senate on that, leading a co-chair of the task force. So I am hopeful that these advances will be made. And it is an open call for commission members. So I strongly encourage you to consider emailing the co-chairs of the commission. And if you would like to serve, I don't know if you all are planning to nominate someone from the student government, but certainly Maria having some advocacy at part of that commission, I think will be important. And my understanding is that both student and staff members will have representation.
Just to echo on that, there are ongoing conversations with Faculty Senate and the university's administration on that sort of thing, and if it needs to be mandated or not. So yeah, that is ongoing conversations, and as I find more to report on that, I will as well. And Dr. Adams, as far as the Student Code of Conduct Task Force, we do have that in our new business. So
that's great. I'm thrilled to hear that.
But Maria, as you attend these meetings as a liaison, as we have more information, whether it's from the student leadership perspective or a student affairs leadership perspective from Dr. Adams, we will share that.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And I will, I'm going to keep my camera off to try to preserve the bandwidth, because I think that was the problem the first time I got kicked off, but I will be here and active throughout the meeting. So as other things come up, I might be happy to address those as we move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. I move that we continue on with new business and move to nomination for Student Code of Conduct Task Force. The chair recognizes Mr. President.
Hi, everybody. So we've had a lot of discussions about this, and as student leaders and other student leaders at the university have advocated for this Student Code of Conduct Task Force to review it. Dr. Adams may have more insight on this, but the number escapes me, but I believe it's somewhere that the Student Code of Conduct has to be reviewed in every 5 years, but it doesn't say that it can't be reviewed sooner. So we've had meetings with President Barron, Provost Jones, Vice President Sims, and spoke about a bunch of different issues, but one of those things that came out was we need to look at this code of conduct and see if there's ways to improve it, and we need a student voice on that task force. When the president made his statement in the following days of that, stating that he was affirming his commitment to forming this task force. As Dr. Adams said, it's made up of students, faculty, and staff. One student is the co-chair of the task force, and one faculty member is a co-chair of the task force. It's going to be made up of about a 15, what was it? It's a majority of students from various different organizations. The student governments will all recommend one representative from their student governments. They will take open at-large representatives, a few from the Commonwealth campuses, one from University Park at large, members of the Black Caucus, the NAACP, the International Student Council, some of the multicultural caucuses. There will be ample student representation from all throughout the Penn State system, as well as some very well-educated and renowned faculty and staff members. Their 5 goals are roughly, the wording may change, but it's to determine and clarify the fundamental state of the Code of Conduct, determine the appropriate uses of the Code of Conduct, consider the impact of the First Amendment on the Code, identify the strengths and weaknesses in the process to make Penn State a more welcoming environment, and the Code's alignment to the law and the university's mission. Because we get one nomination, I have spoken to Jay about this, and I would recommend that the Assembly approve his nomination to serve on this task force.
Second.
All in favor say aye. All not in favor say nay.
Aye.
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 Aye. Congratulations, Jay. You've been appointed to the Student Code of Conduct Task Force.
So just as an added note, for that in mind, I will write up our recommendation on behalf of the student government, and I will forward that along to the appropriate people, and then they will be in touch to see. I believe my understanding is that the recommendations that everybody has will go to the co-chairs of the task force, and then they will determine members from there. Thank you.
This is Dr. Adams. Can I make a public comment related to this nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Jay, congratulations. I'm thrilled that you'll be serving and representing your peers in this way. One of the things that I'd like for you to keep an eye on is right now the Code of Conduct does cover all students regardless of mode of delivery. I, for one, think that's a good idea. And I think that my peers, my staff in student affairs thinks it is too. So as you are representing the World Campus student constituents, it will be important to, I think one of the ways that you all are able to center yourselves and your identity as students is that general policy, including the Code of Conduct, does extend to you all, and the current Code of Conduct also extends to off-campus. This is uncommon among large public institutions, but Penn State has a Code of Conduct that extends to students' behavior off-campus, and it does sanction students for behaviors even if they aren't on campus, and that's something that I think I would certainly like to see stay in the Code of Conduct, and I think it's in how it's applied that will realize benefits. And so I encourage you to just keep an eye on that clause, and certainly as you represent your constituents, think about how that benefits them, how it doesn't, and what that gives them visibility and access to, what kind of responsibilities they have given that current clause, what happens if it gets removed, et cetera, and just to be keeping a watchful eye on that, and what that means for your constituents will be important.
Is it okay if I make a quick comment on that?
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Adams. I'm really looking forward to joining and doing what I can to support in this effort, especially given the environment that we're in, with all of the events that have taken place over the last couple of weeks, with all of the things that we're dealing with as a society, and hopefully looking at the Code of Conduct and looking at how best to ensure that the Code of Conduct appropriately addresses the needs of the university as well as the needs of all of the students, whether they're remote or in residence. I think this goes hand in hand with a lot of the other suggestions that we're hearing to address how do we, look at the issues that are occurring around us, and how do we take a stand and how do we act upon that. And I think this is just another example of, in a long list of things that I think that we can do to start the move. So very excited about the work that we'll do here. I'm looking forward to coming back and updating everyone on the progress that we'll make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Mr. President.
And I just want to say, if anybody else as a public announcement would like to be nominated, I know President Barron is accepting, or they're accepting open nominations. And I think that from what I've heard of most of the constituency and how they may try to formulate that, most of them are not World Campus students, right? So if we could tip that balance and perhaps, students as a whole openly nominate World Campus students from various aspects of all around the country, all around the world, different backgrounds, different experiences, we can provide different perspective so that it's not just Jay versus everybody else. So if anybody else is interested, I think that should be a very good opportunity to get our voice out there as World Campus students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I move that we proceed to old business. Is there any old business, Mr. President?
Just one other thing, as Matrush had mentioned, Penn State World Campus Marketing has requested that we offer up some insightful videos on why we enjoy being World Campus students. If any members of the assembly would like to stay after and give a brief statement, we're going to try to get some recordings together. Penn State World Campus Marketing is doing a campus takeover of the official Penn State Instagram. So they wanted like a 15-second video. We're a little bit behind on that, and it's a little bit late, but I want to try to get that into them anyway. And now that we have a chair of that committee, I think that we can get moving on that. So if anybody would like to offer a brief comment on what makes them so excited to be Penn State students, and then please stick around after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any old business at the moment? The chair recognizes Mr. President.
And in regards to your question, Dr. Adams, about Mary, anybody is free to attend these meetings, whether they're esteemed members of your staff, members of Penn State administration, students from any campus. So there's nothing in our constitution that would require a change on that unless she was going to become an official documented advisor, which you've stated would not be the case. So as a liaison from the Student Affairs Office, if Mary would like to give a report each time, I'm sure that Madam Speaker would entertain adding that to the agenda. If she doesn't have anything that she would not like to add, then she doesn't have to, but she is very welcome here, and we're excited to have her as a part of this meeting. So for any reference for any future or any other members of your staff, if they would like to attend meetings, please do so. Thank you.
Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and I'll include you in our additions for agenda items each time prior to our meeting.
And if Madam Secretary could add her to the invite as well, I would appreciate it. Just so it's on Mary's calendar as well.
I will do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any additional items at this time that anyone would like to discuss or bring up? All right, if there are no additional items, I move to adjourn the meeting. Mr. President.
I'd like to yield the floor to Madam Vice President.
I just wanted to second.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to second what he said, and I wanted to mention that it was nice to see Miss Mary's face in real person instead of just through emails.
Thank you. Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring up at this time? All right, I move to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. The meeting of the World Campus Student Government Association is adjourned at 8:54 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.